That is so he, i.e. Al-Aziz, will know that I did not betray him in his absence, and that Allah does not guide the plan of betrayers, and I do not acquit myself. Indeed, the soul is a persistent enjoiner of evil, except those upon which my Lord has mercy. Indeed, my Lord is forgiving and merciful. And the king said, "Bring him to me. I will appoint him exclusively for myself." And when he spoke to him, he said, "Indeed, you are today established in position and trusted." Joseph said, "Appoint me over the storehouses of the land. Indeed, I will be a knowing guardian." And thus we established Joseph in the land to settle therein wherever he will. We touch with our mercy whom we will, and we do not allow to be lost the reward of those who do good. And the reward of the hereafter is better for those who believed and were fearing Allah. And the brothers of Joseph came seeking food, and they entered upon him. And he recognized them, but he was to them unknown. And when he had furnished them with their supplies, he said, "Bring me a brother of yours from your father. Do you not see that I give full measure, and that I am the best of accommodators? But if you do not bring him to me, no measure will there be hereafter for you from me, nor will you approach me." They said, "We will attempt to dissuade his father from keeping him, and indeed we will do it." And Joseph said to his servants, "Put their merchandise into their saddlebags, so they might recognize it when they have gone back to their people, that perhaps they will again return." So when they returned to their father, they said, "O our father, further measure has been denied to us. So send with us our brother, that we will be given measure, and indeed we will be his guardians." He said, "Should I entrust you with him, except under coercion, as I entrusted you with his brother before? But Allah is the best guardian, and He is the most merciful of the merciful." And when they opened their baggage, they found their merchandise returned to them. They said, "O our father, what more could we desire? This is our merchandise returned to us, and we will obtain supplies, i.e. food for our family, and protect our brother, and obtain an increase of a camel's load. That is an easy measurement." Jacob said, "Never will I send him with you until you give me a promise, i.e. oath, by Allah, that you will bring him back to me, unless you should be surrounded, i.e. overcome by enemies." And when they had given their promise, he said, "Allah, over what we say, is entrusted." And he said, "O my sons, do not enter from one gate, but enter from different gates, and I cannot avail you against the decree of Allah at all. The decision is only for Allah. Upon Him I have relied, and upon Him let those who would rely indeed rely." And when they entered from where their father had ordered them, it did not avail them against Allah at all, except it was a need, i.e. concern, within the soul of Jacob, which he satisfied. And indeed he was a possessor of knowledge, because of what he had taught him. But most of the people do not know. And when they entered upon Joseph, he took his brother to himself. He said, "Indeed, I am your brother, so do not despair over what they used to do to me." So when he had furnished them with their supplies, he put the gold measuring bowl into the bag of his brother. Then an announcer called out, "O caravan, indeed you are thieves." They said while approaching them, "What is it you are missing?" They said, "We are missing the measure of the king, and for he who produces it is the reward of a camel's load, and I am responsible for it." They said, "By Allah, you have certainly known that we did not come to cause corruption in the land, and we have not been thieves." They, the accusers, said, "Then what would be its recompense if you should be liars?" The brothers said, "Its recompense is that he in whose bag it is found, he himself will be its recompense. Thus do we recompense the wrongdoers." So he began the search with their bags before the bag of his brother. Then he extracted it from the bag of his brother. Thus did we plan for Joseph. He could not have taken his brother within the religion, i.e. law of the king, except that Allah will. We raised in degrees whom we will, but over every possessor of knowledge is one more knowing. They said, if he steals, a brother of his has stolen before. But Joseph kept it within himself and did not reveal it to them. He said, you are worse in position, and Allah is most knowing of what you describe. They said, O Aziz, indeed he has a father who is an old man. So take one of us in place of him. Indeed, we see you as a doer of good. He said, I seek the refuge of Allah to prevent that we take except him with whom we found our possession. Indeed, we would then be unjust. So when they had despaired of him, they secluded themselves in private consultation. The eldest of them said, do you not know that your father has taken upon you an oath by Allah, and that before you failed in your duty to Joseph? So I will never leave this land until my father permits me, or Allah decides for me, and he is the best of judges. Return to your father and say, O our father, indeed your son has stolen, and we did not testify except to what we knew, and we were not witnesses of the unseen. And ask the city in which we were, and the caravan in which we came, and indeed we are truthful. Jacob said, rather your souls have enticed you to something, so patience is most fitting. Perhaps Allah will bring them to me all together. Indeed, it is He who is the knowing, the wise. And he turned away from them and said, O my sorrow over Joseph. And his eyes became white from grief, for he was of that a suppressor. They said, by Allah, you will not cease remembering Joseph until you become fatally ill, or become of those who perish. He said, I only complain of my suffering and my grief to Allah, and I know from Allah that which you do not know. O my sons, go and find out about Joseph and his brother, and despair not of relief from Allah. Indeed, no one despairs of relief from Allah, except the disbelieving people. So when they entered upon him, i.e. Joseph, they said, O Aziz, adversity has touched us and our family, and we have come with goods poor in quality. But give us full measure, and be charitable to us. Indeed, Allah rewards the charitable. He said, do you know what you did with Joseph and his brother when you were ignorant? They said, are you indeed Joseph? He said, I am Joseph, and this is my brother. Allah has certainly favored us. Indeed, he who fears Allah and is patient, then indeed Allah does not allow to be lost the reward of those who do good. They said, by Allah, certainly has Allah preferred you over us, and indeed we have been sinners. He said, no blame will there be upon you today. May Allah forgive you, and He is the most merciful of the merciful. Take this my shirt, and cast it over the face of my father. He will become seeing. And bring me your family all together. And when the caravan departed from Egypt, their father said, indeed, I find the smell of Joseph, and would say that he was alive, if you did not think me weakened in mind. They said, by Allah, indeed you are in your same old error. And when the bearer of good tidings arrived, he cast it over his face, and he returned once again, seeing. He said, did I not tell you that I know from Allah that which you do not know? They said, O our Father, ask for us forgiveness of our sins. Indeed, we have been sinners. He said, I will ask forgiveness for you from my Lord. Indeed, it is He who is the forgiving, the merciful. And when they entered upon Joseph, he took his parents to himself, i.e. embraced them, and said, enter Egypt, Allah willing, safe and secure. And he raised his parents upon the throne, and they bowed to him in prostration. And he said, O my father, this is the explanation of my vision of before. My Lord has made it reality. And He was certainly good to me when He took me out of prison and brought you here from Bedouin life, after Satan had induced estrangement between me and my brothers. Indeed, my Lord is subtle in what He wills. Indeed, it is He who is the knowing, the wise. My Lord, you have given me something of sovereignty and taught me of the interpretation of dreams. Creator of the heavens and earth, you are my protector in this world and the hereafter. Cause me to die a Muslim and join me with the righteous. That is from the news of the unseen which we reveal, O Muhammad, to you. And you were not with them when they put together their plan while they conspired. And most of the people, although you strive for it, are not believers. And you do not ask of them for it any payment. It is not except a reminder to the worlds. And how many a sign within the heavens and earth do they pass over, while they therefrom are turning away? And most of them believe not in Allah, except while they associate others with Him. Then do they feel secure that there will not come to them an overwhelming aspect of the punishment of Allah, or that the hour will not come upon them suddenly, while they do not perceive? Say, this is my way. I invite to Allah with insight, I and those who follow me. And exalted is Allah, and I am not of those who associate others with Him. And we sent not before you as messengers, except men to whom we revealed from among the people of cities. So have they not travelled through the earth and observed how was the end of those before them? And the home of the hereafter is best for those who fear Allah. Then will you not reason? They continued until, when the messengers despaired and were certain that they had been denied, there came to them our victory, and whoever we willed was saved. And our punishment cannot be repelled from the people who are criminals. There was certainly in their stories a lesson for those of understanding. Never was it, i.e. the Quran, a narration invented, but a confirmation of what was before it, and a detailed explanation of all things and guidance and mercy for a people who believe. Alif, Lam, Mim, Ra. These are the verses of the book. And what has been revealed to you from your Lord is the truth, but most of the people do not believe. It is Allah who erected the heavens without pillars that you can see. Then He established Himself above the throne and made subject the sun and the moon, each running its course for a specified term. He arranges each matter. He details the signs that you may, of the meeting with your Lord, be certain. And it is He who spread the earth and placed therein firmly set mountains and rivers. And from all of the fruits He made therein 2 mates. He causes the night to cover the day. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who give thought. And within the land are neighboring plots and gardens of grapevines and crops and palm trees, growing several from a root or otherwise, watered with one water. But we make some of them exceed others in quality of fruit. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who reason. And if you are astonished, O Muhammad, then astonishing is their saying, when we are dust, will we indeed be brought into a new creation? Those are the ones who have disbelieved in their Lord, and those will have shackles upon their necks, and those are the companions of the fire. They will abide therein eternally. They impatiently urge you to bring about evil before good, while there has already occurred before them similar punishments to what they demand. And indeed, your Lord is the possessor of forgiveness for the people, despite their wrongdoing. And indeed, your Lord is severe in penalty. And those who disbelieved say, why has a sign not been sent down to him from his Lord? You are only a warner, and not for every people is a guide. Allah knows what every female carries, and what the wombs lose prematurely or exceed. And everything with Him is by due measure. He is knower of the unseen and the witnessed, the grand, the exalted. It is the same to Him concerning you whether one conceals his speech or publicizes it. and whether one is hidden by night or conspicuous among others by day. For him, i.e. each one, are successive angels before and behind him, who protect him by the decree of Allah. Indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. And when Allah intends for a people ill, there is no repelling it, and there is not for them besides Him any patron. It is He who shows you lightning, causing fear and aspiration, and generates the heavy clouds. And the thunder exalts Allah with praise of Him, and the angels as well from fear of Him. And He sends thunderbolts and strikes therewith whom He wills, while they dispute about Allah. And He is severe in assault. To Him alone is the supplication of truth. And those they call upon besides Him do not respond to them with a thing, except as one who stretches his hand toward water from afar, calling it to reach his mouth, but it will not reach it thus. And the supplication of the disbelievers is not but in error, i.e. futility. And to Allah prostrates whoever is within the heavens and the earth, willingly or by compulsion, and their shadows as well in the mornings and the afternoons. Say, who is Lord of the heavens and earth? Say, Allah. Say, have you then taken besides Him allies, not possessing even for themselves any benefit or any harm? Say, is the blind equivalent to the seeing? Or is darkness equivalent to light? Or have they attributed to Allah partners who created like His creation, so that the creation of each seemed similar to them? Say, Allah is the creator of all things, and He is the One, the prevailing. He sends down from the sky rain, and valleys flow according to their capacity, and the torrent carries a rising foam. And from that ore which they heat in the fire, desiring adornments and utensils, is a foam like it. Thus Allah presents the example of truth and falsehood. As for the foam, it vanishes, being cast off. But as for that which benefits the people, it remains on the earth. Thus does Allah present examples. For those who have responded to their Lord is the best reward. But those who did not respond to Him, if they had all that is in the earth entirely, and the like of it with it, they would attempt to ransom themselves thereby. Those will have the worst account, and their refuge is hell, and wretched is the resting place.